What's going on, guys? It is Jay Camaro here with,
The Ranger 99.
and today we're going to be doing another episode of our Flashback Friday Halo Special series. Now, first of all, we'd like to apologize that there's not been really any videos on the channel in many months, actually, more like a couple of weeks. That's just because school has started and we've had tons of homework and we haven't really been able to figure out a time where we can kind of get together and do a video and record and stuff. So hopefully we can continue to have a steady amount of content with a video every couple of days and keep putting up some new videos for you. So today we're going to be taking a look at Halo Wars. Now, Halo Wars represented a lot of firsts in the Halo franchise. Like, first of all, it was the first Halo game to not feature Master Chief as the main protagonist. It was the first Halo game to not be developed by Bungie, the first Halo game to not be released in the fall. But the largest new thing of Halo Wars was that Halo Wars was actually a real-time strategy game, unlike a first-person shooter, which Halo 1, 2, and 3 had been. Halo Wars as a RTS was very different, but still kind of like a real Halo game. So if you guys don't know what an RTS is, it stands for real-time strategy, and it basically means that you're kind of like not really a person, you're kind of like a god or a commander. It kind of just creates units, tells them where to go, what to do, and kind of fights the battles for them. And you can like edit bases and collect resources and stuff like that. And it's very different from the main Halo formula, but I think it was a lot of fun. So first of all, what did you think about this game, Ryan?
Yeah, I knew it's like really different from like you're playing FPS the whole time, and then you go to an RTS and you're like, what the crap? What is this? But it's made by different people. It's just a different style to look at the Halo series, and I think it's actually really good. I think the cutscenes are really good, especially the one that's at the end of this that we have. Um, it kind of just shows like how the Spartans were, how they died off, how it went down before Master Chief. But back to what Joey was saying about like the RTS, and you kind of like play the role of God to like tell everyone where to go. This one we don't really we kind of build bases, but it's not like the regular like multiplayer that if you have this game you know about. But it's more like we're just trying to get from point A to point B as fast as we can to transport. Is it the bomb? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a it's like this big yeah, bomb that has to be carried by an elephant, which is this like large troop transport, and you have to carry it up these inclines, and if the elephant dies, the thing rolls back down the mountain. So it kind of represents like, okay, you have to clear it out, then you bring your elephant up, and you really have to protect your elephant quite a bit. But what Ryan was talking about, like, so there's a couple different game modes in this. There's kind of like two main game modes. First, there's the campaign, which you play as the UNSC, and you just go around the galaxy. You fight the Covenant, and you actually do fight the Flood. You cannot play them, though. And then you have Skirmish, which is a lot like the other game mode, which is multiplayer. And basically, it pits you against a certain amount of people. Like, it can be 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3. And in Skirmish mode, you can have, like, AI be the enemies or the teammates. So I can have, like, me and Ryan on one team on, like, in a 2v2 game. We're on one team, then reversing two AI people, and then you can actually choose if you're on the UNSC or the Covenant. And you can build up your own specific units, and kind of like the team that destroys, like the team that becomes victorious by completely wiping out the enemy team wins. And it's actually really cool because you really have to focus on strategy, like should you attack, should you not attack. And then the competitive multiplayer is okay. I don't think it's as in-depth as all the other Halo games, of course. There's not very many customization options or anything like that. There's really no reason for you to keep going forward. There's no progression system, but it's still pretty fun.
Well, yeah. There's somewhat of a progression system. Like I think I've seen like the levels, like the levels on their little icon, like level 50 or something like that. I'm not sure, but if you haven't gotten this game like right when it came out, when everyone's starting to play the multiplayer, you get wrecked right away in this. Like at least me, I'm not sure about Joey. Like I cannot play the multiplayer like regular against other people because you just get wrecked way too easily.
Yeah, definitely the people who are still playing this are definitely hardcore RTS players, because this definitely wasn't the biggest Halo game ever. It was pretty cool, but it was kind of overshadowed by Halo 3 ODST, which actually did release later in 2009 in the fall. So I think that it's kind of a very underappreciated Halo game. I don't think that every Halo fan you ask will know about Halo Wars, but I think it's a really good game. With the story, like Ryan said earlier, it's before kind of the main storyline of Halo 1 or now Halo Reach. So it definitely gives you some story aspects of kind of like how the main battle went on with the UNSC versus the Covenant before it kind of turned into like a struggle for survival and saving planet Earth from the Covenant invaders. But there's a lot of different vehicles and units in this. Some that you actually haven't seen before. You've got your old favorites like the Scorpion and the Warthog, but you also got like the Grizzly and the Vulture, which is this really big kind of like gunship unit that can just fly over and just shoot like a barrage of missiles at enemies. And then you've got some great units from the Covenant, like you've got the Scarab, and you've got the Scarab, and you've got the Arbiter and the Prophet. And the Prophet has this really cool ability where you can bring down his cleansing beam and just completely annihilate anything in its path.
Yeah. Also, the UNSC gets the whatever their ship's name is. You get the golf. Like, I call it the golf ball cannon because like there's a Forge map that I have that shoots a golf ball from it. But yeah, there's that shoots down and it kind of annihilates the base if you need it, or like a Scarab that's coming on your base.
Yeah, the Mac Cannon, that's what it's
Cannon,
called,
yep.
is it's pretty powerful, and you can actually upgrade it. So like at first you just start out with like one like missile, like you shoot one and then it has to recharge. You could actually bring it up to, I believe, 4. So you can just walk up to your base and completely annihilate it with your Mac blasts. It's kind of just like a race to see who can upgrade the best units first, but then you can also think, okay, if you have a preemptive strike, you can actually maybe take out the enemy quite a bit and maybe cripple them. So it kind of has to you kind of have to think about what you're going to do in the future, and you kind of have to plan out what you think might happen going into the battle. The controls are pretty good. This is there's not very many real-time strategy games on the Xbox 360, and I think that Halo Wars does it really well. Basically, you select your units by pressing X and then tell them where to go, and then you kind of just move around. You can control the camera angle, and I think it's just really easy to play. It's definitely not like it controls of a first-person shooter, of course, but it's pretty easy for somebody to kind of just walk in and start playing. This is actually the only Halo game to this day that has no co-op support. So every single Halo game up to this and since this have had at least two players on one system, but this is only single player, and I can kind of understand why they did that. I wish there would have been kind of like a co-op option, because although you can play over Xbox Live, sometimes I have a friend over and we kind of just want to play together, and I thought that would be really cool to do. It's still a really good online multiplayer. Sometimes it can be a little confusing to get into matches. Definitely when we first started playing this, it definitely was a little confusing to get people into a game, but that was kind of worked out pretty easily. There's a lot of cool maps in this. You've got your favorites like Blood Gulch is here, and maps are set up for 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3, but then you can play like less people on a map that's designed for a certain amount of people. So like on the 3v3 map, for example, you can play 2v2 and 1v1, and I think that's pretty cool because
more bases for you.
Yeah, and actually some bases are controlled by like NPCs, so you can kind of decide to go out and take those. You can kind of just create like a huge amount of bases around your enemy. And,
yeah, plus like if you're versing like actual AI, like the Covenant or the UNSC, if you're depending on what side you're on. There's also, if you want, it's like, oh, you see a base over there, where you're gonna go take it, but it actually it could have like bandits or something like that in it, so you gotta wipe them out before they wipe you out.
Yeah, so right here you actually see us fighting the Flood, and the Flood is pretty cool because they can actually infect your infantry and kind of like turn them and start having them attack you. They have bases, but then the bases actually can regenerate over time, so you'll see us destroy this right here, but after a while you'll actually see them trying to attack our bases, our like other bases, so we have to put up some turrets and stuff. But they're actually pretty fun. They're not too powerful. They don't really damage vehicles as much as infantry. If you have infantry going and try to take on the Flood, they're going to get killed really fast. But I wish that the Flood would have been playable in this, but I kind of understand why they wouldn't, because they kind of don't have like the same aspect of the Covenant versus the UNSC. The Covenant and the UNSC have like vehicles that cancel each other out, like the Wraith is like the Scorpion and the Warthog is like the Ghost, but the Flood really has no vehicles, and their bases are very different from the UNSC and the Covenant. So I can kind of understand why they didn't put them in the game. But they're definitely cool to play against in the campaign. But again, I just kind of wish that they would have had a third unit, or in like a DLC or something. But there are some DLCs available for this. There's a game mode pack, and then there's a map pack. And the game mode pack was pretty controversial because it's actually only a couple megabytes worth of data. And the Ensemble Studios, the creator of this, who actually were subsequently shut down after the release of this game. It wasn't actually because of this game; it had been planned before. But they said it was only because it added like a couple lines of code of rules. But I think that was a little disconcerting to people, considering that this is actually the most expensive map packs in a Halo game. In the map packs in this are actually a full 1,600 Microsoft points. So that's you're shelling out an extra $40 to actually complete this game. So that's $100 for all the content, which is pretty huge, especially since the maps are very similar. Yes, you've got like some have different kind of bases. Like you can build some Forerunner technologies, which is kind of cool. Like little drones that fly around and can repair your vehicle.
Yeah. There's like Forerunners in between, and you'll find like, of course, the Flood in between some, Bandits in between some. So they're basically all the same, except they have like a little bit more environmental features that are different. But yeah, they're basically the same layout.
Yeah, they're not like a first-person shooter where the maps, when you're playing it from like a first-person perspective, the maps are very different because they've got certain layouts and stuff. But when you're playing it with an RTS, you really need it to be kind of like a broad open area, because there are some pathfinding issues in this, especially with like the Scorpions and stuff to like move around stuff. That's not a big deal, but you definitely need a very large area, and in doing so, you kind of add sort of like a generic look to the maps, because there's only so much you can do with just a flat landscape with areas to place buildings and areas to do like there's like shield generators and stuff like that. An interesting part is that when you're playing as Cutter, which basically in the skirmish game mode, you can choose from a couple of leaders. You've got Forge, Anders, and Cutter on the UNSC, and then you've got the Prophet, the Arbiter, and the Brute Chieftain on the Covenant, and each one has their own special abilities. Like for example, like I said earlier, the Prophet has his Cleansing Beam, and then they've got their own special units.
Yeah, Cutter, you can just jump right in here. Cutter has like these, if you train up your Marines up enough, you get the ODST ability, and you can just drop in your units wherever you want to. Like taking a Pelican ride to where you go. I'm not sure if you can do that in multiplayer, but yeah, you can just launch them down. When you lose a group, launch another one. It's really easy, actually, and they're really strong if you have, because by that time you'll have, I think base units are just 4 guys, and then 5 will be a medic, and 6 is
yeah, it's like New Blood.
New Blood, yeah. So if you get all that, then you have a pretty unstoppable force. Like usually I'll just make my whole team ODSTs and they'll wreck.
Yeah, what's nice about the ODSTs actually is you can press up on the D-pad if you're on the UNSC and kind of go to the Spirit of Fire interface. You can choose like Pelicans and heal beams and stuff. But for the ODSTs, they actually stack up to 10, so you can basically go up there and just choose them and just spam A in one area, and you can just have a barrage of ODST drop pods come in and just completely turn the tide. Like sometimes when I'm playing with Ryan, he's like getting destroyed, and he's like, okay, sending in the ODSTs, and they just completely annihilate the enemy force because they like never see them coming, and they train really fast too, and they're cheap. So it's really like once you get the ODSTs, it's really easy to take out an enemy base because they're pretty expendable, but they can actually really hold their own. Once they're ODSTs, they've got like a rocket launcher ability and a medic, so they're really pretty versatile, and it's a really cool unit. Cutter also has the Elephant, and I really like the Elephant because it's kind of like a mobile base, so you can actually press Y, and then it kind of like locks down, and they can have a turret that comes up that can be added as an upgrade. But then you can like train like Spartans.
Yeah, you can just train your units on the go and wherever you need to if you don't have the ODSTs by then.
and that's pretty cool. Like foothold, like you can put like one like out in front of your base, and they can also be like scouts and stuff. You could just have like a wall of them around your base, combined with like the anti-vehicle vehicle. But right here you kind of see the building interface, and right now we're just building a ton of supply pads
Yeah, supply
because
pads. Sorry, I'm gonna jump in again. Supply pads are really important, just like the reactors, because I think 4 reactors makes like the as much as you can, and then you can make the big units like are they Volt? No, they're not vultures. Are they the vultures? Yeah, the big ones. And those are like basically like an elephant in the sky, and they just wreck, just like what I've said before. And if you have a bunch of supply pads, like that's what gets you your like your currency basically, and you use that to build different like buildings and all that. You can also collect some if you have like a scout warthog that you can send out, because that's what you start with. But it's the best way to do is just have like if you can, an extra base that you can just fill up with reactors and supply pads.
yeah, it's pretty funny. In the beginning with the Warthog, when you first start out the a game, like in skirmish, it actually does not even have a gun, so you can just it's completely defenseless, and it's pretty funny how sometimes the enemy, like if you're playing on the Covenant, sometimes the enemy UNSC guys just send their Warthog over to your base, and it's completely defenseless.
Yeah.
It actually has a ram ability, so if you press Y, like pointing for it to go, it just like slams into some enemies. But one downside of that is that you actually can lose health. So you don't want to press that and just have them ram into a base, because most likely they'll be instantly destroyed. Another thing that you just saw is Spartans can actually get inside of any ground vehicle.
I think Hornets too, maybe.
No, I don't think they can get Hornets.
Mm.
And they can kind of like increase their star level. So like units that kill a lot of enemies, they actually have like stars, which increase their defense and attack. So you can have like some really, really good guys built up, and sometimes, and then when you put a Spartan into it, you can basically make like almost an unstoppable unit. And then actually, when it'll get destroyed, the Spartan is on the ground. It doesn't actually die when the vehicle dies, and then you can actually tell it to hijack enemy like vehicles and stuff. And it's actually really fun because you can just jump from vehicle to vehicle, slowly but surely destroying their base. Also, the Spartans get like a Spartan laser and stuff, and you could actually get quite a few upgrades. You can only get 3 of them, but they're actually really cheap. So you can use them quite a bit. And right now we have them all in Warthogs, which I actually really like them in Warthogs because they're pretty fast, and they can kind of just go around the map and stuff. Especially like this, we don't really know what's ahead of us. So if we need to make a quick
yeah, Warthogs are a lot faster than infantry, so that's the way to go. Especially though, if you have like an elephant with you, though, they're gonna go the speed of the elephant to stay in kind of like a more of like a pack.
Yeah.
So.
You can kind of see they're all kind of like slowly in formation.
Yeah, convoy.
We got some Wolverines taking out the enemy air units.
Yeah, and this you start with one person, depending on how many people you're playing with. One person has 3 Spartans to start off with, which are Jerome, Alice, and I forgot the other guy. Douglas. And Jerome's the Spartan laser guy. Alice is the machine gunner, and Douglas is the rocket launcher, I think. But and then the other person starts with Forge and his Warthog. So yeah.
Yeah. So Forge, unfortunately, unlike a Spartan, when his vehicle dies, he doesn't die, but then he can't actually get in any other unit. So basically, you have to keep that Forge Warthog alive. But what's nice is that the Forge Warthog comes maxed out, so it already comes with a Gauss gun and a Grenadier, and of course a normal gun, which is what you like have to upgrade to the normal Warthogs in the game. But then actually, like, heroes and stuff in the campaign, when they go down, they go into, like, a kind of, like, last stand format, where they're kind of just, like, lying there on the ground. The enemy can't, like, kill them or anything, and they're kind of just, like, sitting there until you try to, you have to, like, bring someone over to them, and then they'll get, like, revived and stuff. So they actually can't die, but you really have to be careful with them, because they'll go down pretty fast, and they're pretty valuable, because they are pretty powerful.
Yep. Is this the last position here?
Yeah, we're just about to make our mad dash to the end. We kind of just like decide that I don't think we really need to destroy the base, and we kind of just make a dash for it.
Yeah, we're kind of losing our troops.
But there's some enemy like flood like beasts and stuff that actually like really come around our bases and stuff. You can kind of see us. That one Wolverine right there, I almost lost him. He had like a tiny little bar of health, but then I'm able to put down the heal thing. The heal beam is actually pretty good because you can actually heal friendly I mean, like friendly units on another team. So that's pretty cool. So, but then and then each person has their own. So if I put down one, Ryan can put down his, and then
Yeah, because everyone gets one. It's not like a special ability. So
yeah, but your currency actually is combined into one, so you kind of have to be careful with it. But it's a very team-based thing. Like first-person shooters, when you're playing on the same team, you kind of just decide like, okay, let's go this way and stuff. You can kind of make your own decisions. But in this, you're really like one team because you've got the same currency, the same tech level, the same bases.
yeah. Plus, you can, if someone's running out of units, you can send them more units. You can transfer them to the other person. So.
And that actually really helps because then if like somebody has like a huge amount and you lose a lot, then it's actually really easy to just come right back and start and just keep fighting. But you kind of see at the very end when it kind of shifts over. There's kind of like in-game cutscenes and then CGI cutscenes. This is an in-game cutscene, and the core kind of just like completely like just disappears, and then it shifts to this really epic computer graphics.
So yeah, we'll shut up for this one so you guys can hear it.
It's active!
Sergeant. Lieutenant? Take care of those elites. He's mine. Let's go.
Like the rest of your race, weak and undisciplined. There will be no female to save you this time.
Look me in the eye and say that.
As you wish. My face will be the last thing your pathetic eyes ever see.
So that's pretty much our favorite cutscene of the game. It's just really cool when you kind of get to see the Spartans in action. But that pretty much brings us to the end of the video. I think Halo Wars is definitely a very unique Halo game, and any Halo fan or real-time strategy game fan should really check it out. It's available in limited and standard. The limited edition being $80 comes with like a steelbook, a patch, some documentation, and kind of like a comic book. So what do you think? Final thoughts on Halo Wars?
Definitely pick this up, guys. It's really good. I think it just makes it for the cutscene, like especially this one. You guys think I'm crazy, but it's just the cutscene of this is just really good. I think it's one of the best in Halo games. So yeah, that's it.
So if you like this video, thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see you guys later. Peace out.